Dozer's Run. It was a damp and drizzly Sunday morning in Dozer and Chica's neighborhood. Who knew what delicious smells last night's rain washed in? Who knew what treasures the storm blew into the yard? So the two best friends stretched out after a good night's sleep in the barn, shook themselves off, and began investigating. Out in the street, a runner ran by. Then another runner, and another, and another, and another. Where were these runners running? Doza and Chica looked at each other, and then they got back to their exploring. More runners ran by. Where were all those runners running? We stay in the yard, Chica said with her eyes. Dozer's eyes were on the runners. We belong in the yard, Chica's eyes said. Plus, we haven't had breakfast yet. Later, we will walk with our people. But the runners are running now, Chica, Dozer said with his big swishy tail. They must be chasing something wonderful. More wonderful than the flavor of frog and the reek of raccoon? More wonderful than breakfast, Dozer? And Dozer did love breakfast. But he had to find out what the runners were chasing. He dashed out of the yard. I'll be back, Chica. Follow the leader. But who was the leader? Dozer followed his nose and smelled. A pocket full of gummies, shorts with the scent of a strange dog, stinky socks, tangy trail mix, sneakers that once stepped in, never mind. Dozer followed his ears. He heard laughter, whistles, wonderfulness, and lots of leaders. Dozer could be a leader too. On and on the runners ran. On and on ran Dozer. So much running was hard. A leader's job was to make it fun, and Dozer was good at fun. How about a friendly game of chase? Dozer could outsprint everyone. How about cooling off with a drink? No one could slurp quite like Dozer. How about a game of tag? No one could catch Dozer. Dozer had never run this much before. He grew tired and hungry. Maybe there was breakfast at home. Maybe he was done being a leader. Dozer turned around. He started to run back, and he looked up into the faces of the other runners. Everyone was happy to see Dozer. Did a candy bar just run by in that fanny pack? The perfume of sweaty feet. Jelly beans in that armband? Oh, there was still so much to explore, so Dozer turned around again. Dozer kept his head high and his tail proud. Around him, people were drooping. Some were slowing down. These runners still needed him. Come on, one foot after another. You can do it. We will be someplace wonderful soon. Run, 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 run. Suddenly, Dozer heard clapping and cheering. He slowed down to investigate. He looked left, he looked right, he looked straight ahead, and, oh! Dozer sped up again and scampered across the finish line. See? I knew we could do it. I knew we were running someplace wonderful. The other runners smiled and chatted and high-fived. They all got big shiny medals hung on broad ribbons. Their friends and family greeted them, and everyone was happy and proud. But no one greeted Dozer. No one smiled and chatted and high-fived with Dozer. And no one gave him a big shiny medal. No one even gave him a tiny dog treat. Oh, suddenly this wasn't so wonderful. It wasn't wonderful at all. So Dozer ran on. Morning turned into afternoon, and it turned into evening, and there was no leader for Dozer to follow. There were no followers for Dozer to lead. Dozer was alone, and he was alone all night long. Monday was another damp and drizzly morning. Dozer's family had been searching for him and worrying ever since he sprinted out of the yard on Sunday. They came outside after a sleepless, sad night. Dozer! Dozer! Come here, boy! Come back, Dozer! Here, Dozer! Dozer's mom looked and listened, but there was no sign or sound of Dozer. There was only a dirty, wet rag at the edge of the yard. Then the dirty, wet rag shook itself off and barked, ever so faintly, "Dozer!" And Dozer's mom hugged him close. Dozer limped to the barn. There was his bed. That was wonderful. Dozer had his breakfast at last. Wonderfulness! Dozer plopped onto his bed and fell asleep for 2 days. Thursday morning was not, finally, another damp and drizzly one in Dozer and Chica's neighborhood. The two best friends stretched out. Then, as usual, they began investigating. Aroma of 2 runners. These 2 men were in charge of the long race that Dozer had joined on Sunday. And when they heard about the dog that had practically run the whole route, they just had to track Dozer down and pay him and his family a visit. And they just had to give Dozer the prize that every runner who finished the 13-mile race earned, a big shiny medal. Also, some high fives. Dozer held his head high and proud. "I did it, Chica," Dozer said with his tail. "I chased something wonderful, and I got it." "Yes," Chica said with her eyes, "but I was worried." "Oh." Dozer put his head down a little. His nose caught the scent of something interesting on the ground. "This is wonderful, too," Dozer said with his tail. And the 2 friends got back to exploring the wonderfulness of their own backyard. "Breakfast!"